All right, so hey Justin, thanks for joining tonight for Trail Building Talks Thursdays to walk us through the Pedal for Pints initiative with CAMBA.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Fiona. These are great talks. I've been watching all of them, and yeah, I love what you're doing with them. So
Oh,
keep up the
thanks.
good work.
Nice, thanks. Cool. So let's jump right into the questions here. Okay, so first one is, what is the Pedal for Pints initiative?
Yeah, so Pedal for Pints is something we came up with that we're going to run sort of throughout the spring, summer, fall season. It's a social fundraiser. So it's done in collaboration with Sheepdog Brewing. And so the idea is very similar to, I'm sure what people know of like Fernie's Trail to Ale idea. So we came up with our own spin on it with Sheepdog, in that you go out and sort of pedal a loop on the sunny side that's made up of the Montane, Harvey Heights, and then Horseshoe G8. It's roughly a 30-kilometer loop, about 750, cumulative meters of elevation. So easier than the Fernie challenge. But yeah, you do that loop in a day, and you go and get a free pint from Sheepdog.
Awesome.
Yeah, so back in the winter, Josh from Sheepdog approached us with this idea, and we instantly sort of fell in love with it. And it's kind of a funny story, actually. Literally the same day, Chad, our president, was in the bike shop in Calgary, and the general manager there, Brad Morgan, literally said, "Hey, like, what do you guys think about doing something like Trail to Ale in Canmore?"
Oh, fun.
And yeah, so it really kind of came together like that, and then yeah, we kind of jumped on board and sort of added our own spin to make it more of a fundraiser. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so next question here. Is this a timed event or timed? Yeah.
Yeah, no. So there's no emphasis on times at all. It's completely low key, just a social event.
Nice.
So the way it works is there's the loop. You can go out and do the loop as fast or as slow as you want. But along the loop, we came up with this idea of sponsored segments, and this is kind of where the fundraising aspect comes in. So let's say something like Leavens Run would be a sponsored segment, and the sponsors are just businesses in the community
Nice.
that want to make a pledge to fundraise for the trails. So for instance, we've got Back at It Massage sponsoring Leavens Run. They've pledged $500. So every time a rider that's participating rides Leavens Run, we raise $1 for the trails courtesy of Back at It. And so we've got about 7 or 8 segments on that entire loop, and sponsored by a variety of different businesses.
Amazing. Okay, next question here. Who can participate?
Everybody. We really wanted to make this a really inclusive event. So not just mountain bikers. The segments are open to really any activity type. So if the runners want to go out and run the segments or run the loop, they can get the beer, they can raise money for the trails, and along with other activities as well. You want to go out and walk the segments, that works too. So it's definitely no, we recognize that the trails that we ride are all multi-use. So, we want to include everybody, not just the riders. We've also tried to make the event as accessible as possible. So early on, when we came up with the concept, we reached out to Rocky Mountain Adaptive to see what they'd think about, would adaptive riders or riders with accessibility challenges be interested? And they thought it was a really cool idea. So what we did was we came up with an abbreviated version of the loop that's really just on the horseshoe side. That we thought might be more doable for adaptive riders. So so adaptive riders are also welcome to participate. And then we also didn't want to leave out our younger riders, so we came up with kind of a kid spin to it as well. And this one's sponsored by the ice cream bus. So the idea is the kids will do sort of a little scavenger hunt. It'll all be digital, just because COVID, we didn't want to put things like stamps and stuff out on the trail where kids are having to touch stuff. So it'll all be digital, but basically kids fill out sort of a digital stamp card, and then they can go and get a free ice cream from the ice cream bus. So
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I heard there were some prizes. What are they?
Yeah. So I talked about the bike shop kind of coming up with the same idea, and they're like, well, maybe what we could do is bring sort of prizes to it if we wanted to add that spin on it.
Mm.
And so they've come up with some pretty amazing grand prizes. So the first grand prize is a Tram AXS XX1, which is the highest end version of their sort of wireless group set,
Mm.
which is a pretty amazing prize. I think it
Oh yeah.
retails up around somewhere like $2,600.
Wow.
If you've tried to get one right now, they're pretty unavailable. So I bet you could probably sell it for much more than that.
Mm.
But it's a pretty amazing prize. I mean, sort of, next best thing to a full bike, really.
Right, yeah.
And so that's the first grand prize. The second grand prize is courtesy of, also the bike shop, but in collaboration with Raceface, and it's a set of Raceface carbon wheels.
Fantastic.
Also a very sought after item. So those are the two grand prizes, and those will just be courtesy of like a random prize draw at the end. So going back to those sponsored segments, basically every time a participant rides a segment, they get an entry in the prize draw, and then at the end of the event, we'll just do a random draw and announce the winner.
So the more you ride, the more chance you have to win.
Exactly. So that's the incentive for people to go out and actually sort of participate in the event, ride the segments, which is raising money for the trails. So yeah, we hope it's an effective system to get people out. And just one thing I should note is that the grand prizes are only eligible to active CAMBA members. So we wanted a way also to reward our loyal members as well. So yeah, the grand prizes, you have to be a member, but given the value on the prizes, I think a $30 membership is probably worth it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
There's also going to be monthly smaller prize draws that are going to be available to everyone as well. So, if you're not quite sold on getting a CAMBA membership yet, that's fine. You can still participate and get a chance to win some sweet gear as well.
Nice. It's such an awesome idea for early season training and riding. Yeah. Okay, so how does the ride tracking park work, and does it use Strava?
Yes. So yes, it does use Strava. So to participate in the event, you need to have a Strava account and you need to use it. That's how we sort of track who has ridden the segments, who has completed the loop. It's how we enter you into the prize draw and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully that's not too much of a barrier to entry for people. I think this year we're kind of viewing this thing as a pilot, and if it's effective, it's something I think we definitely would like to continue, moving forward, and potentially maybe next year, we'll allow people to use other apps to ride log, like Trailforks, or just like upload traces from their Garmin or something like that. But I will say, it doesn't require any sort of paid Strava account. So you don't have to be a subscriber on Strava. A free account will work just fine with Pedal for Pints. And you also don't have to share your rides publicly. They can remain private. So, a lot of people do use Strava, but they're not keen on making their rides public. That's totally fine. And, we certainly won't be sharing any, personal information, aside from announcing the winner of the prize draw, I guess. But yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So next question here. When does it start and how long will it go for?
Yeah, good question. So it's going to start officially on May 15th. So, that was done for a couple of reasons. One is we wanted to really make sure that the trails were dry. We certainly don't want to encourage people get out, the trails when they're still wet and not quite ready to ride. From what I've heard this weekend, they are definitely in great shape. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. The other reason we did that is because there's actually, and this is maybe not known to everybody, but the G8 is part of the loop, and there's actually a closure on the G8 until May 15th. So we wanted to start it so that we wouldn't be affected by that. In terms of how long we're going to run it for, I'm not sure yet. It'll kind of depend. I mean, I think we would like, if the event is successful and we can get enough people sponsoring the segments, I think we would love to run it well into the fall, and as long as sort of conditions are rideable. So I guess we'll wait and see. But right now we're thinking, hopefully September, hopefully more.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I think you'll get a lot of people early season too, because Canmore is one of the first places that's
totally.
rideable. So everyone get out and ride.
Yeah, if this past weekend was any indication from what I've been hearing, there's lots of people out on the trail. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, hopefully that means lots of people, keen to participate as well.
Yep. Yeah, I rode the horseshoe side 2 days ago, and it was so dry. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marcus said it was really good today.
Okay, so next question here. I've lost my spot. Just give me one sec.
No worries.
Okay, so how can people get more information?
Yeah, so basically just go to our website, camba.ca, and then there'll be a big button that says, Pedal for Pints on it. And from there, you can go and find out about all the event, how the sponsorship works, what the prizes are, what the monthly prizes draws are going to be will be announced on there. And then, we'll also be tracking our progress there. So, people will see how much money we've raised for the trails. And then you'll also be able to sort of connect to your Strava and sort of link it to the Pedal for Pints app, which is kind of how it works. Just to go a little bit more into that. Basically, you'll go to the website. You hit a big connect button. It'll ask you to log into your Strava, and then it's done. At that point, you don't need to do anything really manually. Your rides will automatically sync, and we'll track your fundraising and progress, and send you emails when things like you do the loop and you want to get the free pints sort of thing. So
And that'll go live
hopefully,
on May 15th as well.
exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. And next question here. What else does CAMBA have going on at the moment?
Yeah. Things are really busy right now. Pedal for Pints is kind of just one of the things we have going on. We just are about to announce our trail build schedule for the year. So we've been working hard on what nights and where we're going to be working. So that's also information you can get on our website. And, we'll be pushing a lot of that out on social media as well. So if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, our trail night calendar is going to be published soon. You can sign up for events. So I guess one other sort of big news item relating to trails is that so we've been planning this trail up at the Canmore Nordic Centre. We've called it the Enduro Free Ride Trail. For a few years now. We've had a concept together, and now we've just been chasing funding for it. So there's been this grant that we've been chasing, and we've actually applied twice before unsuccessfully. But this time we had our secret weapon in our new fundraising director, Jolene Gunn, who applied the third time for us, and we were successful for this grant. So
Awesome.
this is huge for us. It basically gives us the money we're going to need to build that trail.
Nice.
There is some matching involved, so there is some fundraising we have to do, and things like Pedal for Pints will certainly feed into that. But this was the huge barrier for us. So so we're thrilled to say that we've received the funding, and that project is full speed ahead. We've put together a project team, and we're working on getting RFPs in place and things like that. So so that's really exciting.
Nice.
So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great news. And anything else you want to add before we sign off here?
Yeah, I think maybe just one more thing about Pedal for Pints. I think one of the more subtle things that we thought it was good for was one of the things we struggle with is keeping people on designated trails. We know that there's a lot of unsanctioned trails and a lot of legal trails in Canmore that people love to ride, and we certainly recognize that, and we also recognize that the stay on designated trails messaging doesn't exactly resonate with a lot of people. So one of the ways we're looking at Pedal for Pints is kind of an incentive to stay on those designated trails, by offering prizes and free beer and things like that. So and we think that's important because Canmore's seeing a real influx of riders, and a lot of them are new riders that just don't know where to go.
Right. Yeah.
We certainly have a lot of work to do on the signage front and things like that. So we're hoping this is kind of a more subtle way to to push that message as well. So
and then
another aspect of it.
And then for new riders or people that don't know, what is the difference between a sanctioned trail and an unsanctioned trail?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, essentially the way we view it is that, an unsanctioned trail is one that, the land manager has not said, people are allowed to ride on.
Mm,
Now, I think how it gets enforced is certainly different. You've got things like a lot of the horseshoe network, people are surprised to find out is technically not sanctioned, but it's very actively used.
mhm,
Whereas you have other things like pirate trails off the High Line, which are enforced a little bit more carefully by land managers. So
mhm.
yeah, technically it's just, an unofficial or legally built trail. But again, we sort of look to the land manager for the sort of definition of what's unsanctioned versus not versus sanctioned.
Mhm. And then this season, you guys are trying to sanction prospector, excuse me, on Razor's Edge, right?
Yeah, so last year we hit a really huge milestone on Razor's Edge in finishing the connector trail, which was really, I think, the biggest bit of work to getting that trail sanctioned.
Mhm,
And so that is done. And so now really the remainder of the work is just some overdue maintenance and some upgrades to the rest of the trail.
mhm,
And so that's going to be going on this year. So you'll be able to head out on Razors. We'll be doing Razors nights. I think the Razors build nights will mostly be happening on the weekend, just because it's a little further out of town for people. Doing it at night is kind of tricky.
mhm.
And so yeah, so we're excited about that. And kind of once that work is done, I think we're that much closer to getting that to be an approved sanctioned trail.
That's
And the prospector, we are also, working with the folks in Exshaw and public lands, and to sort of move that process forward as well. Certainly, that's going to be a longer term effort, but it's one we're certainly committed to.
mhm,
We do a survey every couple of years, and we ask people sort of what are the trails they ride, what are the ones they care about, and our membership really cares about Prospector, and they should. It's an amazing trail. Everyone loves to ride it. So
yeah.
we see, so it's really going to be a lot of work, but it's
Mhm.
work that we see as certainly valuable. So but that's going to be a slower process, unfortunately.
Mm. Well, I'm excited for both those trails to be sanctioned because I love riding them and I want to take people on them on
Absolutely.
my
Yeah.
guided tours and whatnot. So that's super exciting.
100%. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we end here?
Yeah, I think we hit everything on my list. So yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
again, thanks for doing this. I love these little videos. They're great to watch. So
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, I've learned a lot, and I love spreading. I love helping people to get more information about the trail networks and how everything yeah works because people don't know. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's kind of an untapped resource in that regard. Like I always thought, oh, like maybe doing something like a podcast, just, dedicated to trails would, be something good. But this is essentially what this is, just with video, which I think
Yeah,
is really great.
I want to do a
Yeah.
podcast too. I just haven't had time to
Yeah.
learn that learn that process
Yeah.
yet. But
Yeah. No. So I think getting as much, as many different ways for people to consume this information, I think is great. And, certainly we
thanks.
support it. So
That's
keep up
awesome.
the good work.
Thanks. Well, thanks for joining Trailblazing Talk Thursdays tonight, Justin, and telling us all about the Pedal for Pints initiative. So everybody get out there and ride your bikes and support CAMBA. Go get some beer and win some prizes.
Yeah. Have fun out there and ride safe.
Definitely, yeah. All right. Okay. Have a good
All
night.
right. Thanks,
Okay.
Fiona.
No
See ya.
worries. Bye.